bring in our panel. Ian Pryor, a communications director for American Crossroads. Ethan Behrman is a radio talk show host based in L.A. I want to start with you, Ian, because you just heard Senator Lamar Alexander there saying nobody's talking about repealing it. Well, Donald Trump talked about repealing it while he was running for president, which he is the office now that he obviously holds. Where do we stand on it?
Yeah, but Donald Trump also talked about keeping parts of Obamacare as well when he was running for president. Look, I think ultimately what we have here is tactics that are smart politically and that are smart policy. The easy thing for Republicans to do would be to pass some sweeping health care legislation, and then everybody can find out what's in it later. That's what the Democrats did. That was bad for middle-class families, it was bad for small businesses, and it was really bad for Democrats because since they passed Obamacare, they've been decimated at every level of politics, whether it's state legislatures, city councils, or now the White House. So I think keeping all options on the table and acting in a deliberate and smart way is certainly something that, again, is good politics and good policy.
Ethan, do you have a problem with it if that becomes the Republican approach?
No, I think that's the right approach, and it's funny because how many times did they pass bills trying to repeal Obamacare, and now they have to be adults because they're in charge and realizing that 3.5% of our GDP is for subsidies, taxes, and penalties related to health care. Yeah, they should look at the good parts of the Affordable Care Act and fix the parts that are broken. I totally agree.
It does amount to something like 20%, Ian, of the U.S. economy. Tough to do that with just, a couple of pieces of paper.
Well, one thing, going back to what Ethan said, there haven't been actually that many votes to repeal Obamacare. A lot of those votes that Democrats talked about were to repeal individual pieces of Obamacare, for example, the Class Act, which Democrats voted on. Now, there are pieces of Obamacare right now that we could repeal that Democrats would join up on. Talk about the Cadillac tax. Unions hate it. The medical device tax. You'd even get Elizabeth Warren and Al Franken to vote to repeal those things. So there are certain tactics that we can use to pull away parts of this law so that we can eventually repeal it, because ultimately the vast majority of Obamacare is going to be off the books in a short period of time.
Is a free market system the better way to go, Ethan?
Well, I think to some degree it is, because we need to have relationships directly with our doctors again. I'm not hearing the Republicans say, let's get the insurance companies and giant bureaucracy out of the way. I'm also not hearing people, particularly Republicans, talk about the underlying causes of why health care is so expensive, which is pharmaceutical companies and price gouging, although President Trump has talked about that. But our food, diet, and exercise, these are big issues, and nobody is talking about that right now.
You might also include malpractice suits that doctors have to pay and insure against. Ethan Behrman, Ian Pryor, thank you both.
Thanks a lot.
Back with
Thanks,
more
John.
Happening Now in just a moment.